Network on 95.1 FM and AM 760 presents Wake Up in the Den with Ku'ule Agbayani.
Good morning, beautiful people. It's Wake Up in the Den. I'm Ku'ule Agbayani alongside Paul Brecht on the Hawai'i Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM. Well, I think our FM's down. AM 760, hawaiisportsradio.com, and it's streaming live on our YouTube channel. Apologies for the delay. As you guys know, we are rarely ever we're hashtag Team Nose Days Off, and I had no idea that today was a holiday. So it took a little while to get things situated in here and fix our logs because a normal weekday log was in there, just a peek behind the curtain. And yeah, we can't follow those logs when it's a weekend and we don't get certain traffic reports and whatnot. But welcome to the show. Happy Monday. And as you can see, it took us a little while to come on. The Menehune were messing with the board once again and the sound and everything like that. So welcome to the show, everybody, and thank you for being with us. But I think we are good to go. Paul, how are you doing this morning?
I think this works if I go like this and here, and then we exit out here and we go there, and then I go back over here, and now I think that we're all back to where I want the microphones to be now that the Menehune have gotten done. I'm doing well. I don't like when things are messed with because I am a creature of habit, as I showed you with where my wallet is placed when we were talking about coming in this morning. But as you discussed, a little bit of a surprising holiday. Surprising's like the wrong word. I just kind of lose track of the days. Like, I am aware of the holidays. I am aware of like when they are and blah, 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 blah. But I truly, truly sit here and I'm just kind of like, oh. All of a sudden, it's President's Day. All of a sudden, it's like the roads are open and blah, 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 blah. So I'm doing well now, especially that the board is back where it should be.
I know today is one of those, like, I know it's a federal holiday, clearly. That's why I knew it was a big holiday today when I rolled up to our building because the gates were down. And that usually means it's either the weekend or a major federal holiday. And I completely was like, wow. What holiday is it today? Because clearly I'm familiar with the really big ones, like your normal family holidays or Memorial Day, stuff like that. And yeah, President's Day kind of snuck up on me. But no, welcome to the show again. We are here. We're going to get into a lot of stuff. Let's just recap the weekend real quick because there was a bunch of stuff that happened.
Dude.
We'll start off with the big time Bows, let's go. Men's and women's swimming and diving. Congratulations, Big West Conference champions. That is so awesome. It kind of snuck up on everybody. Speaking of things sneaking up, I saw all the social media posts. So shout out and congratulations to the University of Hawaii men's and women's swimming and diving teams taking home the Big West Conference championships. Got to kind of go back and look at how that all transpires. It's weird, right? Like, this is one of those sports that I wish we could have more coverage of throughout their respective seasons because we talk a lot about the Olympics going on right now, but when we think about Summer Olympics, one of the most popular sports is always swimming and diving to an extent. It's definitely swimming because U.S. tends to dominate as well, but diving is always fun to watch in the Summer Olympics as well. I think it's usually like China that always does like amazingly well because they can make like the tiniest splashes and everything like that.
The Asian countries in general are so like focused on excellence that you could tell me China, Japan, like any of them in there, and I'd be like, yeah, probably.
Also going on this weekend, congratulations and shout out to the Kahuku Red Raiders, state champions, baby, beating Punahou 40-38. OIA on top, their first state title since 2017. So we got our if you're watching on our YouTube, we got an awesome photo up there by Riley Guillermo, one of our fabulous interns that we have coming up or during this final push of the sports season. So awesome photo over there. And OIA back on top of Division I boys basketball. Again, Kahuku Red Raiders, state champs, first time since 2017 after beating Punahou 40-38. Also happening on the weekend, Kohala winning another state title in Division II boys basketball, their fourth overall after beating Seabury Hall 49-35, and the third for their star player in Layden Kauka. 28 points that night, Paul. Almost half the points for Kohala. So Layden Kauka, just a final state championship, but his third state championship and the fourth overall, once again, for Kohala. So boys basketball officially in the books now that we are officially turning the page to high school baseball, softball, flag football season coming up. The final push, boys volleyball of the high school sports season. So I guess, yeah, you can tap President's Day as kind of the turning of the page to the final set of high school games or seasons. It's so crazy to think about that. Boys basketball is officially all PAL too.
I can't believe just how fast the year has gone. Is our sound on? Caesar said there was no sound early on, but I would assume that was earlier. All right, cool. No, it was an awesome weekend of basketball just in general. I really, really, really love seeing the OIA finish out on top, especially Kuku. I know we talk a ton about when it comes to the football field, and you know they had a nice stretch in volleyball or girls volleyball, and like they put out. It's cool to see them win in basketball, and I always love to see Red Raider Nation show out. You know, this is the home of the OIA, so anytime that we can, you know, puff our chests out a little bit more, we'll do it. So it was really an awesome game, a 14-point comeback by Kahuku against the defending state champions in Punahou. It was really, really fun. I really enjoyed the game before it, like you mentioned. I mean, Kohala has created their own mini dynasty. Layden Kauka is just phenomenal as a player. Excited to see where his college career continues on, because it will continue on. But a great weekend of high school athletics, and yeah, to get us into this final stretch, which is it really is crazy that the 2025-2026 like school calendar year is, I mean, what, 3 months away from wrapping up-ish, give or take? A little more.
Give or take, and all the other sports, as we know, are still going on. And, I mean, it's officially the final push right now that UH baseball is actually back in action. I mean, so far, Hawaii, 2 out of the 3. So far, one more game this afternoon. You're going to get some afternoon baseball, everybody, for the fourth and final game between UH and Gonzaga tonight, or this afternoon at the Les Murakami Stadium. But going back, I mean, check the tape, Paul. Friday, I swear we were like, oh, you know, it's opening night. We'll get some extra innings, and then it's going to be like this walk-off and everything. And that's exactly what we got. That's exactly what we got. So congratulations to all of the fans that showed up and showed out on Friday evening for opening night, because, I mean, chef's kiss. You got an extra inning of baseball, and Hawaii walking it off 3-2 over Gonzaga, having another win on Saturday night, 5-3. You got extra innings yesterday, but it didn't exactly go at the favor of the University of Hawaii. But nonetheless, at least you got some free baseball if you were there yesterday afternoon. So overall, a pretty fun opening weekend for baseball, which we will talk about more and hear from Rich Hill coming up a little later. But just your quick, I mean, how is it like to be back out there in the bless and watching some baseball, Paul, and then to have the type of opening nights that we shouldn't be surprised that we got and we're treated to, but it's still always just hits different every single time that Rich Hill and co like to do this to all of us.
It's the best way to put it. It just hits a little bit differently. I love baseball season. I'm a big basketball and baseball guy. For anybody who knows me, I've been to all 30 MLB parks, and I don't know, man. I don't know if any of them really have the same feel as the less. Maybe PNC Park there in Pittsburgh. It's just, it is special when you're in there. It is beautiful. The vibes are immaculate. You see great baseball, and that's what you saw all weekend, even with the loss yesterday. But no, that opening night, to go to extra innings, I did chuckle a little bit because, yes, of course, the Rainbow Warriors under Rich Hill on opening night. Back-to-back years now, they have walk-off wins to start their season. It was fun. It was awesome. Great time to be there. Another sellout crowd. Baseball fans here in Hawaii are rabid. They were raring to go from start to finish. I'm excited to talk about it a bit more as we get into it.
Starting the weekends off pretty good. Softball, not too bad on the road. They did drop 2 out of the 3 so far, but were able to have a nice win against Utah State. So they dropped that first one against Utah State, but then won big 16-8 again on the road. Then they did lose to LMU 6-0. But still, again, we looked at the schedule ahead of them going on this 10-night road trip. And it's going to definitely be a test for the Rainbow Wahine softball team, and a test that they welcome. The women's basketball team, as we saw, they were able to come out with a nice win on Saturday. That we'll talk about more in detail a little later on the show as well. 63-54 over the Matadors on Valentine's evening. And a shout out to all of those friends that brought some Valentine's roses and chocolates and stuff for the ladies. That was really cute to kind of see them as they do their walk around the stand and hold all of their flowers and stuff. And it's, Valentine's Day. We were all each other's Valentines that evening in the Stand Sheriff Center. So it was a nice, good vibes. And of course, getting the win is always a good thing for for the Rainbow Wahine to keep kind of moving on up in the Big West Conference standings. But overall, good vibes there at the stand. And then, as we know, the concourse, I guess you could say, there was still the party in the Les going on as well.
There absolutely was still the party at the Les going on. But a fun time with the Rainbow Wahine. Got a chance to ask them about their favorite, Valentine's Day candy. Thought it was a fun one.
So, what did they say? Because I know I couldn't really hear it entirely, but when you were ball knowers, what was
chocolate. Chocolate and milk chocolate.
Oh, milk chocolate.
Yeah, I'm a milk chocolate guy.
Because you were like, what kind of chocolate?
Yeah,
and then I couldn't really hear what
question.
they said.
Yeah,
all I heard was Paul say ball knowers.
Yeah, milk chocolate. The players said milk chocolate. I'm pretty sure Beeman said any type of chocolate.
Yeah.
Also ball knower, but that's just like my mom, she has enjoyed all of the different chocolates Beeman has. I don't know. I'm a simple guy. I like my milk chocolate. I don't like the bitter dark chocolate.
Ooh, it's so. I think it comes with age, Paul. Maybe when you get older.
So
I always thought ew, it tastes.
Ew.
But I'm a black coffee drinker, and it's kind of has similar flavor profile, so I think that's how I've come around to actually liking dark chocolate.
I was
too.
trying to get there without saying the actual word coming with it, or the phrase coming with age, because I never want to imply any woman is aging.
Smart.
So that's why I put Beeman in the same category as my mother, whom I love very, very much. It's
See, Paul, you're going to be married forever.
That's why I spent this
very,
Valentine's
very
Day.
Knows exactly the right things to say and not to say sometimes is the better stuff. Unfortunately, for the men's side of things,
little less love shown to them.
We'll talk about that a little bit more a little later in the show. But the men's basketball team for UH falling at CSUN 84-60. In a game, once again, check the tape. Paul and I were very prepared and somewhat worried about how the Rainbow Warriors would fare. And it's almost like the culmination of Saturday games on the road, which, as we've seen this season, they kind of get tired or something in that game. But also that we were very aware and thinking about this CSUN team, and that the game here at UH was not indicative of the team that CSUN really is, and even more so the team that CSUN is at home. As Paul had pointed out last week, that CSUN only dropped one game at their home courts, and we saw what they can do. And again, the culmination of UH just not, for some reason, not being able to bring their best stuff on those Saturday games on the road. And then you're playing another really solid opponent in CSUN. So bad loss this week at home. There's going to be some big-time games because Cal Poly, they are taking a turn.
Dude.
They are peaking at the right time. They've taken down they took down UC Santa Barbara this weekend. They took down Irvine recently. So they're making their push here in the last bit of the season. Cal Poly's on Thursday for the men. And then Saturday, AC Cardinite, UC Santa Barbara, another tough team. But fortunately, we're home this week for the men because this is going to be some tests that they face on Thursday and Saturday. And yeah, It's going to be electric in the stand.
I mean, realistically speaking, this is the last push for a top 2 seed. I don't know if you're going to be able to get the number 1 seed. I feel like there is at least one more loss in these final 6 games or 5 games or whatever it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games for the Rainbow Warriors. It feels like they probably drop one more. But can you clinch a top 2 seed? And if so, that comes this weekend against, like you mentioned, or this week, against a scorching hot Cal Poly team and a UC Santa Barbara team who took it to you. Hawaii, similarly to CSUN, though, very, very good at home. You want to see that continue as you close out this regular season. A couple of really big ones. We'll see. They'll get tested. Just how good and how legit that home record is. That's for sure.
All right. Last but not least, before we go to break, want to make sure we give you an update about water polo. They played in the Barbara Calbis Invitational this past weekend. They fell to Cal on Friday 16-8, but then got a couple of wins against UC Irvine and Fresno State yesterday, 11-9, and against Irvine, 11-6. And then they play Irvine again, still staying on the road. Well, they come back, but then they don't play again. But then the next time they play, they will be on the road at UC Irvine next week, Friday. And you'll finally be able to see this women's water polo team here at home. Let's see where I had the date. Oh, here, March 7th. So we talked about the men's volleyball team having to be away, which fortunately we get a couple of games next week against BYU. But water polo, not here until March 7th against UC San Diego.
Just wait a month and a half into your season before you play a home match.
That's cool.
Just
cool.
Almost 2 months. Yeah, no problem. Not an issue. They're 7-3, kicking everybody's butt.
Yeah.
So no issue.
Let's go. All right. Well, we got to go to break, so we'll be right back to really get into the baseball conversation and let you hear a quick post game from Rich Hill on opening night because we want to, keep the vibes high and go back to that and not talk too much about the loss yesterday. But anyways, we'll talk about baseball when we come back on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
Wake Up in the Den with Ku'ulei Agbayani on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
Welcome back to Wake Up in the Den. Ku'ulei Agbayani and Paul Brecht on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM, AM 760, hawaiisportsradio.com, and streaming live on our YouTube channel. Sorry. Had a little brain flub right there because I keep saying FM, but I know we're having issues with our just habit. But either way, we're on YouTube.
Yeah, at some point, maybe it'll come back up on FM.
Yeah, we had to keep our YouTube Mondays going as, again, just...
Sorry.
The final push, and Caesar, I see you joining us. We've missed you. Yes, you have been absent from the chat lately, but I hope you are enjoying the newlywed life. Again, congratulations to you. But you know what? You might get your wish in that next week we might do a YouTube live stream every day. because just gotta accumulate the memories here. The final week, next week will be the final week that you will see this studio, anyways. And then we'll see where we pop up next. But it won't be too long. We'll be around. But yes, maybe like the next week we'll do like everyday YouTube live stream, and we're just gonna party it up every single day, right? Like, let's do this. All right.
That just means we got to keep the cameras charged.
Oh yeah.
We just got to write a note. We'll write a note and we'll make sure. And that way, after each show, we'll plug them in and it'll be beautiful. It'll be a great time.
It'll be a great time.
Can't wait.
All right. Just like it was a party, it's going to be a party next week. Just like it was a party in the last this weekend.
Good transition.
Minus yesterday.
Nope.
I'm learning better from you.
That was good. Wow. Very, very honored. Thank you.
It's between like a mix of, you and Kyle, like
say,
listening
Kyle
to both of you guys and how you
loves
kind
that
of just seg everything perfectly.
Anyway.
But yes, party in the less on Friday and Saturday. Extra innings, 2 out of the last 3. No surprise, but at the same time, like we were saying in segment 1, it just hits different every single time, even though we half joke about opening day going to extras and Hawai'i winning in extras via walk-off. You never actually believe it's going to happen until it does, and that is what we witnessed on opening nights. Again, Hawai'i 3-2 in 10 innings. Got a few more of extra innings yesterday, but again, Hawai'i falling 7-2. But at least fans were treated with the first 2 wins against Gonzaga. And those of you going to go out for some afternoon baseball today, again, 1 o'clock p.m. at the Les Murakami Stadium. Before we kind of overall recap all of the games, want to kick it back to Friday's extra innings walk-off win for the Rainbow Warriors, or the BaseBows, and let you guys hear from what head coach Rich Hill had to say following that game.
Manoa Magic, you saw, that error, early on, with Mikey Bell with that leadoff. You saw a bloop single. We saw the wind swirl early in the game, knock down that fly ball. The Manoa Magic is real. Our fans are the best in the country, and man, it just intimidated. I think it does intimidate everybody.
Cody said you told him just swing only at fastballs, but he saw that slider inside and he just pulled it.
I don't remember telling Cody that, but he's the story of the game offensively, and welcome home, Cody.
And finally, with Elijah, was he going to bunt all the way, or did you give him the option to slash?
That wasn't the plan. What happened, I'll tell you that, but it worked out in our favor.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Coach, how would you rate Mags in that opening night start?
I thought he was spectacular. I thought he got better as the game went on. You guys saw that he's bumping 91, 92 in the 6th inning. He wanted to stay in there to face Landon. With that 2 outs and a runner on second base, he's looking at me in the dugout, nodding his head. So that's awesome when that happens. He wanted it and made some good pitches.
And then what about John coming in, giving you guys a nice boost to finish things out?
Wasn't that awesome? Runner in scoring position. He comes in, does his job, and man, he was downhill. Good fastball, good curveball. It's really good to see that out of John.
How'd some of your new guys in the lineup, like Shamau, Redding, how would you rate some of those guys tonight?
Well, Shamau had some loud outs, I think early on. Mikey Bell made a great play to lead off an inning. Loud out to start the game. But Tate's, he's been our MVP in the fall and the winter, and, you can see how tough his at-bats are. And Jake's the same thing. He took some good hacks. I don't think he had anything to show for it. But he got us a couple strikes today, which were awesome.
Is tonight kind of a microcosm of the sport for Elijah? 0 for 4, but ultimately gets a chance to kind of play hero towards the end?
I don't know about that. Elijah's one of those guys that he doesn't get too high and doesn't get too low, So that showed, I think, more than anything, that, his mental toughness, when things aren't going his way, he can still produce late in the game.
And that was UH Baseball head coach Rich Hill following Friday night's walk-off win for the Rainbow Warriors over Gonzaga to come out with, like I said, a party at the last, electrifying win on Friday night. We did get a text. Pitching and defense looked good for the Bows. Hope the hitting comes around soon. Not going to win many games, scoring only 2 runs. Understandable. Yesterday, Mother Nature seemed to hate the team in the first half.
Dude, oh my
Bows
God.
had to pitch in the rain, yet Gonzaga got to pitch in the sun. I know. What was going on with our Manoa Magic yesterday? Did we make her mad somehow? Like she didn't want to do what she usually does in favor of the home team. But no, Paul, baseball guy, I will kick it to you with your overall thoughts on what you saw through these first a few games against a good quality opponent in Gonzaga.
I think that's important to note. This is a really, really strong Gonzaga team. I think they're going to be really good as this year goes on. I think their pitching is extremely strong, and we did see that yesterday. A preseason all WCC pick goes. The Bows touch him up for a couple, and then they bring in a freshman out of the pen who goes 6 1/3 scoreless. It was truly, truly incredible, but building off our texter's point, I did think that the offense left a little bit to be desired at times, not just in terms of, run production, but just contact-wise. Last year, I thought the Rainbow Warriors did a really good job putting bat to ball in practically every single game, and I do understand this game went to 12 innings, but the Bows played extra inning games last year as well. Hawaii had 14 strikeouts in this game. That's more than they had in a single game at any point last season. So that is something that does need to get cleaned up now. For those of you who are like, oh, well, how many more? It's one more than a single game than last season. But nonetheless, we're 3 games in, and you've already surpassed the most in a single game from last year. So I would love to see the hitting get a little bit better in terms of putting the ball in play. That's like a little thing, though. I did think like a guy like Tate Shimao, I thought, had a good weekend at the plate that didn't result in any results for him, where he made good contact. I thought he put the ball in play a bunch. I thought he hit the ball hard, and he had nothing to show for it because he hit it directly at people or it was a ground out. And Gonzaga, to their credit, I thought they played pretty good defense for the most part throughout the first 3 games of this weekend as well. I toss out the error to end the first game, but even that was going to be a tough play. I thought they probably should have just taken the out at first. That's another conversation at the end of the day. But no, I thought the pitching looked great. I mean, you got a freshman going out there in BMG who was just, filthy to start. And then, as you mentioned, Mother Nature not necessarily shining brightly on the young man to continue that outing, but I thought he was still solid against a quality lineup in Gonzaga, and that's following up 2 really strong performances on the mound that you got to begin the season in Isaiah Magdaleno and, getting another call, in Isaiah Magdaleno and then Hikili Robello. I thought both of them were, unbelievable for the most part. And Isaiah didn't even have it. Like, Mags didn't even have his best stuff. This is a fun team. I'm excited for what they are going to be able to be this year, barring the offense figuring it out. Because, 2 runs is just not going to cut it, especially going against some of the teams in the Big West who, with all love and respect to Gonzaga, who I think is a quality team, we're seeing, UC San Diego just took one off the top team in the country. UC Irvine's always good. You have UC, which one is it?
Yeah, I think UCSB.
Santa Barbara,
Yeah, they beat like a P4 opponent or something. And shout out to Commissioner Dan Butterly because he had retweeted it and said well, this is Big West baseball. What do you expect? This isn't, which is so true. It's very, very competitive. Hence why when you go back to the Mountain West announcement, Coach Hill was kind of well, it's not a bad thing for baseball to go into the Mountain West because the Big West it's going to be unfortunate to not have this level of competition consistently and this many opponents.
Our non-conference.
Yeah, we're just going to have to be rivals with Nevada in the Mountain West because they are the number 1 preseason in the Mountain West, and then they also have a bunch of Hawaii guys on that team.
They love recruiting Hawaii.
It's going to be like Hawaii versus Nevada moving forward, but that's next season, and at least a good start again for the Bows this season. The BaseBows, 2 out of the 3 so far over Gonzaga, and we'll see what happens.
Go win the
this
series
afternoon.
today.
Yes, and do we know who's pitching? I know there was some murmuring about like Liam O'Brien potentially, but I haven't seen anything. I haven't seen Steven Tsai
Nothing
post
official
anything.
yet. I think it was Christian Shimabuku of Aloha State Daily said that there was the possibility of Liam O'Brien going against his former team, but the coaching staff was still deliberating going into last night, we'll say.
All will be revealed.
Yes, thank you, Rich.
As Rich has to say. So we do not know still and haven't seen anything this morning yet. I'm sure hopefully by the time we're done with the show, we should see one of our colleagues post about who will be on the starting bump this afternoon. Again, 1 o'clock p.m. For those of our friends on the continent, you can watch it via ESPN Plus, and here at home, it will be a Spectrum Sports game. So if you are a Spectrum subscriber and, oh, wait, no, it's a holiday. I was going to say, and you can't get out of work, but you can watch it on your phone or something. But it's a holiday, so a lot of you might be off. So you can either head on over there to celebrate your President's Day at Les Murakami Stadium, party in the Les, or you can always watch it via Spectrum Sports. And then, like I said, outside of Hawaii on ESPN Plus. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, let's get into some football conversation. Next on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
Back to more Wake Up in the Den with Ku'ule Agbayani on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
Welcome back to all of you, the beautiful list of all the beautiful people. It's Wake Up in the Den, Ku'ule Agbayani and Paul Brecht on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, a 95.1 FM, AM 760, hawaiisportsradio.com, and streaming live on our YouTube channel. Thank you for hanging out with us this and every weekday morning from 8 to 10, and also checking out all the stuff on our YouTube, including right now on the live stream. Feel free to text or chime in on the live chat. Let's get into some football conversation right now. And one of the big news, Paul, the twerking has worked. The twerking works for Sacramento
Listen, I mean,
State.
it works
the twerking
in real life,
They
too.
did have to show a bit more skin than North Dakota did to the Mountain West. And by that, I mean they had to pay a lot more money.
I was going to say a bit might be not enough of a...
So but Sac State has entered the chat into FBS football. They are, by all accounts and reports, set to be added to football only, though, to be added to the Mid-American Conference, or the MAC, which the mapping of the MAC now looks
so funny.
Incredibly funny. And I think the funniest part was seeing people talk about oh, this makes really weird sense where you have NIU joining football only into the Mountain West, and then you have North Dakota State going up from the FCS to the FBS to join the Mountain West. And so the way that the map shapes up looks kind of funny, and I'll put it up right there for you guys. And if you're not familiar with the MAC, it's entirely like I guess the eastern side of the country is their cluster of schools, being like Ohio area and kind of over there. And then, and as you can see, the Mountain West is entirely spread out now with UTEP all the way down south. And then you have North Dakota State all the way up north. And then NIU is the furthest east that you go. Think of where NIU is as we look at this map. And then that's somewhat where the cluster of the MAC schools are. And then look where San Jose State is. And essentially that's the area, or I know not exactly with California, yes, but just from the map on a big scale where you're looking at Sacramento, and they are the lone school. Like, at least the Mountain West is a little spread out everywhere.
Yeah, but for the most part, it's mostly west. It's like 8 of the 10 schools are in the west.
But you don't have all your clusters here and like one, which is what is the MAC right now with Sac State. And so I know a lot of people were just like, oh, this makes no sense, blah, 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 travel-wise. I was like, yeah, that's because they don't have the commissioner that we have. And Gloria wasn't just about to let anybody into the conference in terms of FCS. North Dakota State, as we mentioned last week, it ups the profile and the competition level of the Mountain West, assuming that they will pour in the money that they've already proven that they've poured in at the FCS level to keep them competitive coming into FBS. I can imagine them almost following the same footsteps that Boise State was, starting off in the lower tier of football, now being very competitive at the highest level of college football. So Sac State, not exactly setting any worlds on fire and striking fear into the eyes of the football teams that they will compete against, because they don't exactly have the historical success that North Dakota State has, but hence why they had to twerk a little bit more, and they had to pay a lot more in addition to the $5 million fee for the NCAA, because they want to make it more difficult. But $15 million, so a few million more than North Dakota State, and showing a little more skin, twerking a lot more, as Paul mentioned. And yeah, I mean, power to them that they were able to, they set their sights on joining or moving up to the FBS, and they got the money for it. You know, their basketball team is a former NBA player. It's backed by Shaq. They got a lot of money. The owner of the Kings pumps a lot of money into Sac State and all of that stuff. But you got to win football games. So power to them for making the leap and paying enough money to get there and make things happen. But it'll be interesting.
So that's where I was going to go. I'm happy for Sac State first and foremost, because they, as much as we sit here and we joke and it's like, oh man, they had to, I mean, basically throw themselves at the MAC.
Yeah. At anybody, they were.
Yeah. This is a school who made it their mission to play FBS football in 2026, and to their credit, no matter how they did it, they did find the lifeboat to the FBS. They did make that jump. They are doing it. And to the credit of the people who said that that was their goal, they have achieved their goal. They have made it. On the bigger side of things, though, like you kind of mentioned, there's a lot more to come than just, oh, we moved up to the FBS, he. Because, yeah, there are the travel woes, the MAC, as much as people want to sit here and be like, oh, haha, the MAC and Tuesday night football. There are some good football teams in the MAC. Yeah. So it's not like you're just going and you're going to be able to roll right in and be at the top, especially because, as you mentioned, they don't have the history of NDSU. They don't have the history of some of these other FCS schools. So I'm a little bit curious how their building process goes, but when you have people who are willing to invest in you, when you have people who are willing to back you, it does go a pretty long way. So I'm interested to see how it ends up. I'm glad that Hawaii ended up in the Mountain West, and they have everything settled, we'll say, for them. NDSU and the Mountain West is a much better place to be sitting in than even, like, I don't know, the Pac-12 right now is kind of in a weird spot. Like, they're fine, but I don't know.
They got creative with the flex game. I give them
right,
that.
That's cool. But I don't know. I feel pretty good about the future of the Mountain West. And it's not because some school just had to throw a Godfather offer in. This is like a good deal for the Mountain West, and you're getting a good team along with it rather than the Sac State side of things where it's a lot more question marks.
Shout out to our texter. This one's funny. And I know that they texted in when you had mentioned the twerk. They applauded you for that as well. But texting in again, how bad was the twerk if the only boys that came to the yard was the MAC?
It's a legitimate question.
But again, like the Pac-12 and the Mountain West, Gloria Navarre's them, even the other FBS G6 conferences on the East Coast, yeah, like they weren't willing to pull their hand out there and bring up Sac State when there is no level of success that they have already proven. There's nothing that they had offered except money, which, hey, MAC, if that's what they wanted, that was their goal. And like as we mentioned with the world of college athletics with student athletes, like I'm not going to knock anyone for taking money, but I'm glad that Gloria Navarez really analyzes it like, hey, if we are going to pull up an FCS school, like it's going to come with the history of winning so that the odds of them adding and benefiting your conference in the long run is going to come with it. So again, I cannot sing the praises enough of Gloria Navarez for it is still a chance and it is still a risk, but I think it's a very well calculated risk, and it still comes with a significant piece of money. I think $7 million up front, and then it kind of spreads out throughout the time. So it's maybe not going to be the same for the MAC, but who knows? Like I said, at least Sac State gets what they wanted in football only,
it's good
and
for them.
the MAC gets $15 million. So
yeah, in this world of college sports, we need money. I get it by the MAC, but yeah, just to continue the point, I think you're spot on there where the Mountain West was thinking monetary dollars and they're standing in the entire college football landscape, right? Where how many minutes and hours have we spent talking about the auto bid for the G5 or the G6 now, I guess, with the Pac-12 in there. But like, to do that, you don't want to water down your conference, especially, and we can be honest here, we lost some pretty good teams from the Mountain West to the Pac-12. Like, we did. And to add a North Dakota State that has that higher ceiling, it's not saying it's 1-to-1. It's not saying that it's guaranteed, but it is a lot more likely that even if they're coming up this year, they're probably not going to finish at the bottom of the conference. Yeah. They probably finish in the middle of the conference at worst. And then from there, it's like, okay, now we elevate the profile of our conference, and can we compete against the American? Can we compete against whatever it may be, so that we being the Mountain West, get that G6 bid, because obviously this is the best conference top to bottom. And that's part of the addition of NDSU to me as well.
Speaking of like the Mountain West, just elevating itself as well. I saw a report, I think it came out on Friday, that UNLV, I mean, spend money to make money. UNLV actually turning a surplus for their athletics, $2.5 million for the 2025 fiscal year, according to the financial report that was obtained by, I got to look at the name, but it's just shows the level that UNLV now has brought them back up to. Again, they were like down in the dumps, like in debt with their athletics program, and now turning a budget surplus is incredible. And it's a testament to what the Rebels have been able to do. City of Las Vegas finally getting on board, like we kind of need over here in Hawaii, but that's a conversation for another day. But again, you're just seeing, all right, you have all of these state big time schools, which that whole thing is kind of funny too with the was it you that texted, or we saw something?
Michael.
Yeah, Michael saying like, oh, Pac-12 must be like
livid,
ticked because Mountain West is adding a state. You don't get the state, we get the state school. But you see all of these other programs, right? Because when we look back, like some of the defectors, they didn't really have, I mean, even Boise State didn't exactly have the dominant season that they did.
No.
They were in football. Colorado State, we know the issues there, firing Jay Norvell. Fresno State, like maybe San Diego State, they were competing, but Hawaii blew them out. So it's not like on a football competitive standpoint that it's just anything to be missed if we're just judging by this past season. Or it's like, hey, we got UNLV. And then Hawaii is like making that turn and making the rise. So
kind of the thing
awesome.
is you have teams who are filling in the spots at the top of the conference.
Hi.
And I don't know. I'm not upset about seeing Boise leave. So yeah, bye. Take your Smurf turf.
All right. We're going to call an audible. Speaking of football, we're going to bring it back home. We're going to bring it back home here. And Michael Lasquero, as we know, has been out covering practices and being out at football practice throughout the springtime. And we didn't get to play this for you guys last week as he had a chance to catch up with Jeremy Kerr, the tight ends coach and also the special teams analyst. So here is that chat with our Michael Lasquero.
All right, we're with Jeremy Kerr, assistant coach for the University of Hawaii football Rainbow Warriors. Was here last year as an analyst or an assistant, and now he's the new promoted tight ends coach, right? So, Coach Jeremy, how are you doing, and your thoughts on last season and moving forward to this 2026 season?
Hey, doing great. Really excited for the opportunity. Really excited to get back on the offensive side of the ball. Enjoy my time with the specialist and working with special teams, and that's always been a passion for me. But really getting back to my roots with the position I was able to play when I was during my career. So really excited about this year. Really excited for this spring. Just happy to be here. Happy to get to work.
Yeah, kind of talk about your backstory, because I believe you played at Florida State, got to anchors. I think Dalvin Cook was somebody that you was part of blocking for. So what are you taking from that Florida State experience and your playing days and previous stops that you're bringing to the Rainbow Warriors?
Yeah, was fortunate enough to block for Dalvin Cook and a bunch of other great backs. Just those experiences I learned there, just trying to, bring them here. And it's funny, like everybody always talks about Florida State, versus Hawaii and stuff. And really there's not a whole lot of difference in terms of kind of our identity, what we said, what we believed in, the culture, the brotherhood, all those things. And I really think there's a correlation between all, good teams and with having that bond in the locker room, really coming together, working hard together for a common goal. Just really a lot of similarities in that, and with upholding the standard and really chasing greatness and all those things. The team's offense at Hawaii is the run and shoot, right? And but last year and under Coach Timmy, a little bit different flavor, right? Instead of the 4 wide, you got some tight ends and some different personnel groupings mixed in there. And the main reason why I wanted to talk to you is because the tight ends is kind of that underrated position, right? I mean, the one game where you guys didn't have a healthy tight end was Arizona, and you guys didn't score a touchdown. So can I talk about the importance of the position for, this style of offense? Yeah, no, so the run and shoot, very exciting offense. And, the tight end position, in my opinion, brings so much value to any kind of offense, whether it's helping in the run game or, having guys that can really help attack the passing game, which we do. So just kind of marrying up a good mixture of both and really just finding our role and whatever we need to do for the offensive success and the team success. Really, that's kind of our motto in the tight end room, kind of that Swiss Army knife, whether we got to run block, pass protect, run a vertical seam, stretch the field vertically, whatever the case is. We're just looking to, do our job to help, do our 111 to help the offense and ultimately help the team.
I want to ask you about your position group a little bit. We have, Devin Tauefa. I think when he catches 3 passes, you guys are undefeated. They're not big yardage, but when he is involved, you guys have a pretty good record. I think Micah KK came along last year too, and then you're getting Oki back, kind of that offset tight end, that move tight end, and then as well as Frank Abreu. So can I talk about the returners and kind of talk about the newcomers?
Yeah, so you got a room with a lot of experience. Like you mentioned Devin, and then KK played a lot of valuable snaps for us this last year, and then Oki, like you said, coming back off of that injury. Really excited to see him out there with the guys, moving around, running around, participating, competing, and Frank's got a bunch of potential. So he's got a big ceiling. So excited for him, kind of seeing where he fits in, and then just the rest of those guys. You got Anthony. We just got him here. And Matt Bailiff, and just trying to find everybody's role and understanding that all tight ends don't look the same. And owning that, though, it's a good thing. Finding your role and finding what you're good at, and just continuing to work that and own that. And we're not selfish in the tight end room. When one of us has success, we all have success. So really just trying to get all those young guys reps this spring, and they're coming together really well as a group, and figuring things out. And I'm very demanding on those guys, and they've definitely stepped up and answered, and they're responding. So very excited to see how they've worked thus far, and I'm excited to see where we'll be at the end of this whole spring deal.
And we're with Jeremy Kerr, tight ends coach for University of Hawaii. Coach, you talk about not all tight ends are the same, right? I mean, I think right now, like the base offense, you got slots and wideouts, right? And then maybe you got backs. But tight ends, some's on the line, some's off the line. Maybe for like the neutral fan or the common fan that isn't used to seeing that, right? I mean, people are used to the Colt Brennan days, right, throwing it out. So can you kind of maybe break it down or kind of elaborate a little bit more on stuff to watch for from the tight ends in this coming season, like where they can kind of appreciate more of the value that they bring?
Yeah, I mean, we'll be everywhere from split out wide to having our hand in the dirt, attached to the line of scrimmage in a three-point stance, like a true Y on the ball. We'll get in that hip position, that yo position, and, move them, and, we'll kind of pride ourselves with lots of motions and things like that, pre-step movement, but really looking to help in the run game and, like I said, in the passing game where we find our role. But yeah, it's a position that just brings so much value in so many different ways. You get mismatches on body types, bigger bodies. Anytime we can get, those one-on-ones with the safeties or, some of those smaller bodies, we feel like that's a 50-50 ball shouldn't really be a 50-50 ball. We're bigger guys, we're going to play big, and that's kind of our mentality and our approach to those things.
Coach, some couple fun questions. During your playing days, there was less facial hair and less hair up there. When did you kind of get the glow up?
Man, well, just kind of adapted, and this is just kind of the transition. I used to keep that thing pretty high and tight. Just felt better in my helmet, to be honest with you. But yeah, just kind of went with the beard and growing the hair out. I got to find a new barber since I've been here. So once I get me a new barber, I'll get all cleaned up.
And then one last thing. I think before you got to the University of Hawaii, I think some of your former FSU teammates was talking about you on a podcast. Are you aware of that podcast? And do you want to comment on anything that they said?
Do as I say, not as I do. All right. I think I know what podcast you're referring to, but I tell my guys just we got to be safe and take care of ourselves, and I want to play tough and all those things, but we're going to be smart. There's a difference between being tough and being dumb. So we're going to be smart, and I'll leave it at that.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
We'll leave it at that. Thanks, Michael, for keeping us in the wings and like, what's the story? Now we got to go back. I forgot to ask Michael on what the backstory is about that. That was Michael Lasquero with Hawaii football tight ends coach and special teams analyst Jeremy Kerr. That was from last week. As we know, spring football is alive and well. And Michael has been out there bringing you guys coverage as well. You guys can check it all out at hawaiisportsradio.com and just click on the Hawaii football tab. But no Billy Gowers now. The barber that was on the team is what Coach Kerr said he has to find now. A new barber out here that when his playing days, he kept it high and tight, as he said, because it was just better in his helmet. And it would totally be a Michael question to be like, why the change in the facial hair?
So funny. It kills me. He thinks about things that I would never, ever dream of thinking about. And it's not because they're not good questions. It's not because of anything other than just I would never even think about it to ask during an interview. And it's great because it gets fun moments like that. Excited to add Coach Wade to Coach Kerr to the staff. I'm looking at our text and I keep thinking it says Merica Wade and it's Merica Wide.
Oh, no, I was like
Jeremiah Wade. Yeah,
Jeremiah Wade.
Jeremy Kerr or Jeremiah Wade, apparently.
Sorry, Coach Kerr. We know your name, but apparently this morning you're Jeremiah Wade.
Jeremiah Wade. Yeah, no, I was going to refer to a text that we got, which said MW equals America wide, which, yeah, looking at the new Mountain West map, that is kind of the way that Mountain West should be, is America wide. But yes, Jeremy Kerr, excited to add him to the staff. It's always good to add young, fresh minds. It's always good to have people who are passionate and knowledgeable about what they do. And Hawai'i just has a bunch of people like that. And Coach Kerr is another one of those.
He also kind of matches the, shall I say, vibe that is the special teams room. And the former, as we know, Coach Sheffield was the tight ends and special teams coordinator last season, and then now Jeremy Kerr essentially got promoted to being the tight ends coach this season, and then still a special teams analyst. And hey, kind of matches the room there. They all got the facial hair going on. Kind of has like that, they could have like a mean mug, but really nice guys actually in person. So I'm like, is this planned at all?
It probably was. I don't know. Feels like those type of things happen all the time, especially in football. I feel like football coaches
gravitate like that, yeah.
Right. The similar vibe, not just like coaching, but all the way like to the facial hair, to the like persona. I remember thinking that Jeff Ulbrich, actually this is semi-relevant, Jeff Ulbrich, former University of Hawaii Rainbow Warrior, his linebackers coach / now passing game coordinator actually just got hired as the Browns defensive coordinator literally like 15 minutes ago. Those two look very, very similar. So maybe it's the same thing there. And maybe Coach Kerr will have a great special teams career someday.
What? Sorry, I just had that vision in my head that I think you or Michael sent. Which coaching staff is the bald coaching staff?
Oh, that's
that
the
we
Titans.
Just saw? The Titans. Everybody on there. And I was like, is this real? And
yeah.
It's totally
very real.
It's all of their.
It's very funny too.
They don't need any barbers over there.
No.
Opposite to what we have.
I wonder if that's like a cost thing. Do they're able to spend a little extra around the facility because they don't have to spend it on haircuts? Is that like something that the actual organization would pay for? These are the questions we need the Titans reporters to ask.
We will never know now because we don't get report cards after.
Thanks, Woody.
Yeah, thanks to the owner of your favorite football team, Paul. Anyways, we're going to take a break. We'll be back for hour number 2 on the Hawai'i Sports Radio Network.
Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
Welcome back to Wake Up in the Den, hour number 2. I'm Ku'ule Agbayani, alongside Paul Brecht on the Hawai'i Sports Radio Network and streaming live on our YouTube channel. Might have to get used to it, folks. It's going to be a fun one. It's going to be a fun one in March, so we'll see what happens. But yes, thank you for tuning in on this President's Day. Hope you guys are enjoying your holiday. Thank you for tuning into us if that's what you're doing on your holiday. We appreciate you guys. And if you missed the beginning of the show, it was a little wonky, but more so I was like, oh, it's a holiday. Oh, yeah, the gates are down. Okay. And then the Menehune were in the studio again, messing with our board. And it was they want to keep us on our toes. They were like, we're on a holiday too, and we're going to mess up everything for you guys.
Yeah,
and that's how it was.
Am I going to have to check this literally every single morning now so I don't kick on the host mic and my mic instead of my mic and your mic? It's like, whoa. Why are we? I thought I already did this like recently. Normally, I at least get like 2 weeks between Menehune visits. That's
true.
Know?
That's
I don't
true.
I don't have to be on my toes every other show.
This weather has been kind of wonky, so that's part of the reason why. Just like how the weather wanted to be wonky in Manoa yesterday.
That's fair. That's
only,
fair.
You know, it's kind of the same thing. Mother Nature wanted to only mess with our pitching, and it's just at least it's kind of a collective thing for some reason with this weather being the way that it is, and kind of what's happening, but it's okay. We're making do with everything. Again, thank you guys for tuning in. We'll get into some other news really quick. We'll get into some UH basketball takeaways as well. Let you guys hear from what head coach Laura Beeman, along with a couple of players, had to say following that nice win on Saturday for the Rainbow Wahine on Valentine's Day, and talk a little bit more of other stuff going on. But I did want to, because we were just talking about how, the board and stuff, and I don't know. Might not have to deal with that in a couple of weeks. So
true.
I think we'll have less Menehune problems. And that's what like a lot of my weekend has been spent on. And I wish I could go back to how the boys got to enjoy baseball this weekend, because I would have wanted to enjoy more baseball. Reminded us of our colleague Christian and having to not cover sports and cover a lot of the hearings for the House and Senate, where it's outside of the normal avenue of covering sports. That's what my weekend consisted of in terms of like, I just want to go back to covering sports, but it's for the greater purpose. And I'm referring to shout out to our texter and regular listener and supporter out in Boise, originally from Eva Beach, but has followed us and listens to us from the continent, but saying that he caught the bombshell news at the end of the broadcast on Friday. As someone that has gone through more than my fair share of company sales, FCC, direct investments, all that stuff, this is a nice one. And believe me when I say that things will always work out for good and talented people. Let's just hope it doesn't mean a move to Boise like it did for me. Yeah, I don't think it will, hopefully. But yes, this whole weekend I've been kind of like wrapping my head around different things and really had to lock into different options and what will collectively work the best and serve the best purpose. And overall, again, we are going to be moving off of terrestrial radio, but everything else will still continue to be here. We are still planning to, I can't say for sure we're going to have the March 3rd, is it March 1st, 2nd? I don't know. The first Monday of March.
March 2nd.
March 2nd. I can't guarantee will be, that might be a Monday we might skip for YouTube, but we should be up and running shortly after that, and we'll see what happens. But in terms of our terrestrial radio listeners, this is a heads up that will be the last 2 weeks. So in March, we will not be here on the terrestrial radio, but our website will still be there. We are still planning to go live from an audio source on that Monday, March 2nd. And at the very least, you guys we can record and you guys can still hear the podcast version of the show. And our website will continue to be updated with all of the other sports stuff that are going on. Picking up our play-by-play as well. Might do a little bit more play-by-play stuff via YouTube. We'll see. So we're still here. But again, we got to keep reminding you guys that terrestrial radio-wise, and we don't know what the station is going to be turned into, honestly. But that's fine with us.
We will be here figuring it out with you guys.
So, but just a heads up, if you do listen to us on terrestrial radio, we will not be here in March. So just plan accordingly, and we will tell you as this week goes along, give you the best options in terms of tuning in digitally by the time we get to March. So it's going to be an exciting sprint towards a finish line in a sense for us here. But meanwhile, yes, I apologize if maybe certain sports I have not been paying attention to as the time goes, but that's what I have the guys for. So fortunately, I'm going to always be like, Paul, what happened?
The beautiful thing is I tune into everything all weekend as much as I can and then get angry when things are not on television and the Rainbow Warriors and Wahine are away. Do you know how badly I have wanted to watch water polo? And I just never get an opportunity to.
know.
Because their first tournament of the year, it's funny. I put all of their matches on my calendar because that's what I do. And I've gone each day to try and watch them or whatever. And for the majority of them, if not all of them, there just isn't a visual option to watch. I was like, what the heck? Just give me, I don't even need the broadcast. Just give me the
still cam.
The still
Pac
cam
West
or
style.
exactly. I don't know. I'm fiending for some Rainbow Wahine water polo, especially because they've been so good. But
I'm glad you said that, though, because for all of our Rainbow Wahine water polo fans, this week, Wednesday's featured Mana Wahine Wednesday interview is set to be with a water polo player, redshirt sophomore utility, Aggie Weston.
Dude,
so we're
she's a monster.
we're gonna talk story with her. And if you guys haven't seen her yet, she's a monster in the pool. She's also 6'4", so
yeah,
she's a beast, and I'm excited to chat with her. I met her in because she does similar to how some of the other water polo players and cheerleaders. They work for Sodexo when they're not practicing, so I got a chance to meet her in person when she was working in the Ed Wong room, and she's amazing, and she's so fun to talk to. So we're going to be excited to let you guys hear my chat with her this coming Wednesday. Again, Aggie Weston, and at least for other people that are craving for some type of water polo content because it's not out there regularly so far, at least we'll get that.
We'll get that. That'll be a really fun one. I am looking forward to listening to that one. Just as somebody who has earmarked Aggie's season from the jump. She was a preseason All Big West selection despite redshirting last year. And then she had an 8-goal game 2 weeks ago or something like that. She's absurd. So I'm excited for that one. I'm excited for your chat for that one. Make sure you stay along with us later this week to hear it.
All right, getting back to some football news. We were talking about in the previous hour about Sac State twerking enough, but not having too many boys come to the yard in terms of the other conferences, as our friend in Boise had mentioned. How bad was the twerking if only the MAC came to the yard? And you know what?
Pretty bad, it looks.
And you know what? We thought they already showed some twerking and showed a little bit of skin, way more than North Dakota State, that is, because they're paying a few million more than NDSU is to the Mountain West. But also, man, yep, the MAC was like, we will take it. We like that type of twerking. And so this is the MAC's deal. This was just tweeted out at the top of the hour by Ross Dellinger of Yahoo Sports, saying the MAC's deal with Sacramento State, now officially announced, is a 5-year agreement in which the school will take no conference distribution, cover air travel costs of visiting MAC teams, and pay $6 million of the $18 million entry fee in year one. So, I mean, they're paying $1 million less than North Dakota State is paying in year one. But everything else, no conference distribution for 5 years and covering the air travel costs. And again, we talked about it in hour one, the travel distance of MAC schools. Think of Chicago area is kind of where Ohio, that's where a lot of the cluster of the MAC schools are. And then how far California is and Sacramento is. So they got to pay all of that. Luckily, it's football only, so they'll only have to pay, 6 schools for travel costs. But football teams...
6, maybe 7. Sorry.
But football teams have a lot of people.
Well, so that's kind of my thing is I sit here and I think about what it costs for me to go home and that type of thing. And I understand that it's not 1-to-1, blah, blah, blah. But football teams are 100-plus people. Going cross-country is not cheap. Yeah, the deal, as more details come out, you understand more and more how the MAC finally relented and was like, I mean, fine, I guess. You can join, sure. Because $15 million altogether, And with the added benefits and bonuses and whatever, why wouldn't you? It's a 5-year deal. And then we get what? Do we get realignment free agency in a few years? Do they renegotiate their membership contracts, or Sac State becomes an FBS free agent, and will they go? Are they another FBS independent? Them and Notre Dame can have their own little FBS independent conference. Wouldn't that be funny? Sac State and Notre Dame. Oh man, I don't know. I get it for the MAC. Good for them.
Yeah.
Really, really good for them. Especially considering, because that was something that we were curious about, where you look at the map and it's a little awkward and strange with all the schools pretty centralized. And then Sacramento State, if Sac State is paying for those teams to come on out to Sac State, makes a little bit more sense, I suppose.
So crazy.
It's great, good deal for the MAC.
Good deal, really good deal for the MAC, and it just shows how much and how desperate Sac State was to make this move. But you know what? If they got the money for it, then why not?
Yeah, sure,
they
man.
poured it in there, and we said this
Not my
earlier.
money.
It's like, kudos to them. They did everything that they could do to move up their football team anyways to the FBS level. That was the goal. So we'll see kind of what happens. I'm also curious to see what will happen in a few years if UC Davis ends up being entirely serious about moving their football team up from FCS level to FBS, being that they already have a significant foot in the door because all of their other programs are moving over to the Mountain West as well, along with UH. So there'll still be kind of that rivalries between all of these similar schools, except football. So they do sponsor football, UC Davis does, but in the FCS level. And then should they be able to show that they can start being a little more competitive, put a little bit more money into their football program, I'm kind of curious to see how that will work out for the Aggies in terms of what their timeline is to move up. But at least if that's their long-term goal, then kudos to the planning of UC Davis as well, because it might be a lot cheaper than it is for Sacramento State, and it has been for North Dakota State to move football only from their respective conferences and from the FCS to the FBS. Let's see. Big West website says Sac State will be joining the conference. Oh, it doesn't say when. That's the other sports, right?
Yeah. That'll be for all the other sports. That begins in the 2026-2027 academic year.
There we go. So a lot of conference realignment. But yeah, shout out to our texter that is very aware that is happening. So everything is going to look very different next sports season in terms of, especially the conferences that we pay attention to with the Big West and the Mountain West and Pac-12. Like this 2026-27 season is when these significant changes will happen. And then it'll become like second nature. Like, all right, these teams are there. But until then, feel free to text us and we're keeping our tally. And okay,
it's good to keep us. Yeah.
These teams will be here. But only some sports will be here, and then the other sports will be here.
Is Sac State kind of trying to be Hawaii in a sense then? If I take you through it, right, where there'll be a Big West member for all their other sports. They've already been an affiliate member, but they become a member for all their other sports. They are a football-only member to a G6 conference where they're a little farther away. They are.
Yeah.
It's not 1-to-1, but I suppose in a sense, if you're Sac State, you kind of look at that and you're like, you prove yourself over these next 5 years, and then maybe you get a better deal the next time once those 5 years are up, and the MAC is like, all right, maybe you don't have to pay for those like travel subsidies anymore and all that. Like, in a sense, I suppose I can kind of see the vision for Sac State.
Yeah.
Maybe. Ish.
Yeah. I mean, essentially, too, like we were just talking about, doing almost like what UC Davis is somewhat doing.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just moving conferences, but then potentially football will come up.
I don't know.
It's a lot.
Good for Sac State. Once again, like, I am happy for their student athletes. I am happy for all the administration who have been working tirelessly to get this done. It is just a funny deal to look at on its face and be like, man, you had to give up a lot, and you didn't. It doesn't feel like you got a ton back. We'll see in a few years what the return on investment is.
And that's the thing, right? Well, I mean, it already says a lot when you had Brendan Marion already saying peace out to the football program, where it's like, all right, he's already jumped ship to go be an assistant coach at a P4 school. I mean, granted, it is under Deion Sanders, and there's kind of talk that, the timeline for Deion Sanders to still stay as the head coach because of his health and everything like that could be coming to an end pretty soon. So maybe that's where it is. And Brendan Marion wasn't sure on the future, but now, again, Sac State moves up to the FBS. Should they be able to invest enough, find a solid, get their feet going with the football program? And who knows, maybe we could be sitting here in a couple of years being like, man, Sac State is the MAC champions, right? And they are the representative now in the college football playoffs. So never say never. It's a good text. A petition to call Sac State Shack State. LOL.
I'm in.
Hey, he's a significant
Seconded.
piece of the pie. So yeah,
You've
Shack
got my
State.
signature.
I'm a big Shaquille O'Neal fan. So Orlando Magic days, of course.
Orlando Magic.
So Shack State. This also makes me think, and a final thought here, because I know we got to go to break. I wish, and I know it was never going to happen, but I must say that I kind of appreciate the fact that these quote unquote smaller schools are only moving like their football programs, because as we know, football is the driving force between conference realignment. Football also brings in the most money. So I'm okay with inconveniencing the football programs for travel purposes, right? And I like that their other programs are staying relatively close, because when you look back at when the first big conference realignment happened, it affected in a negative way a lot of the non-revenue generating sports, because now they're like softball players, right? In the Pac-12, there were quite a few that said the reason why they chose certain Pac-12 schools is to play in front of family, to stay on the West Coast. Now they got to do all that
Think
travel.
about the ACC now.
I know.
You got multiple California schools.
We could go back, and we can't, and just be like, hey, some of these bigger Pac-12 schools, only their football programs went.
Yeah.
That way, it's all fine and dandy if you want to inconvenience the travel of the football programs and you guys do your own thing, and then everyone else stayed in the Pac-12. That way you still get you get to boost the level of competition for some of these Pac-12 schools, and then at the same time still keep somewhat of that tradition and not inconvenience a lot of these student athletes that didn't ask for this. They don't get the benefits, reap the benefits of a lot of what the football team does, right? Like, because we're talking all these sports have to be inconvenienced. So I really wish that could have been some type of result. I understand why it's not, because again, I go back to the former commissioner of the Pac-12, who he's the one that's to blame for not coming up with the media rights deal.
What was the word you used before you said commissioner? You said, I think as an F word, former.
Oh yeah,
former. Yeah, that's on purpose. There's a reason for that.
Leadership, man. Anyways, but yeah, like, dang it, I wish they could have been more creative and not inconvenience a lot of these other student athletes. Anyways, that was my final thought on that. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we will get into some UH basketball conversation on the Hawai'i Sports
Wake Up in the Den with Ku'ulei Agbayani on the Hawai'i Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
Live it up in the afterglow. Up late, talk low, push the limit, fascinate, feel good, activate, level up, captivate.
Welcome back to Wake Up in the Den. Ku'ulei Agbayani and Paul Brecht on the Hawai'i Sports Radio Network and streaming live on our YouTube channel. And you can always listen on demand wherever you get most podcasts, and every Monday watch back on demand. So thank you for hanging out with us this and every weekday morning from 8 to 10. Before we get into some UH basketball, I want to remind you guys that coming up, we have a couple of broadcasts here for HPU basketball. As we were talking about, Paul, like with the turning of the sports calendar for high school, HPU basketball is like already coming to an end in terms of their home games. Their senior night / day is already this Thursday. So we will have coverage of not only Thursday's game of HPU versus Azusa, but you get some early afternoon, / late morning, early afternoon basketball tomorrow. So we will have HPU versus Jessup. 11 a.m. is the men's game. So again, a little pre-lunch basketball there at the Shark Tank. We'll have coverage of those two games for you guys. And then Thursday, we'll have senior night at its regular times at 5:30 is the women's game. So we're already wrapping up the homestand in our broadcast here for HPU basketball. What?
It feels like the entire year was just a blink. But, I mean, it's been a fun year. Really, really big back-to-back games for HPU on our airwaves, both for the men and the women. The women still with a little slim chance.
Okay, not mathematically eliminated.
Last I knew, I have to check it out again, but last I knew, because they did win on Saturday. The men, though, fall. They've fallen twice in a row now, and, you know, with just a few games left, it's going to be important that they pick up a couple of big-time victories before they hit the road to finish out the regular season against Point Loma and Concordia Irvine. So you'd like to see them pick up victories both Tuesday and Thursday, and you can listen to both of them on our airwaves.
Yeah, speaking of Point Loma, I saw it come across my social media that, again, that was our most recent broadcast we brought you guys, but Point Loma, at least I saw the women, I'm assuming the men are pretty close, but the women clinched postseason berth already, and of course you're going to have to see like how the rest of the schedule plays out to see where exactly they end up. But it's starting to come to that end of the season calculation time where, yeah, like you want to start to see if HBU can at least mathematically punch their ticket into the postseason again. Again, remember, 6 teams only as opposed to what we usually talk about with the Big West with 8 teams in the postseason. But HBU has been able to at least get in there under Jesse Nakanishi. Missed it last year, and that's the year that they want to bounce back from. But big games, like Paul said, which you can hear on HSRN tomorrow and Thursday. Tomorrow, early or late morning, early afternoon broadcast, and then Thursday, the normal early evening broadcast for you guys right here on Hawai'i Sports Radio Network. All right, switching back over to the Big West, we'll talk women's basketball. Again, the Rainbow Wahine coming out with a good and much-needed win when we talk about wanting to keep accumulating those wins to earn yourself that spot in the postseason in the Big West Conference Tournament. The Rainbow Wahine 63-54 over the CSUN Matadors. Hawaii still at that 6th spot. Again, a lot of the top teams also keep winning. You have UC Irvine on a 4-game win streak, UC Davis on a 3-game win streak, UC San Diego getting a win as well. So those are your top 3 teams in conference. Cal State Fullerton, as we mentioned, also doing very well. They did lose most recently, but before that, they have just been on a roll. So that is going to be quite the test for the Rainbow Wahine the second time around. 11-4, Cal State Fullerton is in conference for the women's side. And they already looked like they were a different team when we saw them play the Rainbow Wahine the first time. But, man, the turnaround that they have had so far, they are going to be a tough team down the stretch and in the tournament. Right behind Fullerton is UC Santa Barbara at 9-6, and then you have our Rainbow Wahine there at 8-6 in the Big West Conference. So they've been starting to figure things out, string together a lot of these wins now, and should make it into the postseason. I'm like, gotta knock on wood, but there's still a lot more to go. But we like what we see so far, and I thought my biggest takeaway from Saturday's game, and partially credit to you, Paul, as well, because you're yelling from the rooftops in the beginning of the season about utilizing the bigs a lot more, and that is exactly what they did this past game. You had Imani Perez leading the Rainbow Wahine in scoring with 18, and right behind her is Sanaya Neverson, which we will hear from them along with Coach Beeman in just a second. But I thought the biggest statistical takeaway and them going down low is the fact that their normal leading scorer, or tend to be at the top of the pack, in Bailey Flevel, scoreless. And it just makes me think of going back to that Irvine game that Coach Beeman had said when their main guard for Irvine, they were able to shut her down, and that the Anteaters weren't able to figure anything out to come out and beat the Rainbow Wahine, where I know it's frustrating. You could tell it was frustrating Bailey that she had a 0 by her name in that game. It's going to be, she's a young player. She's used to scoring. She's a hungry player. I get that. But I think it's really important, and a great takeaway for the Rainbow Wahine is that if and when one of your main offensive weapons is just not having a great game, 0 for 9 from the field, or being shut down defensively by the other team, everybody else can step up. Like Kiara Curtis also contributed 10 points, but she had 4 assists as well. So it's just, I liked what I saw in that sense where, all right, it's not working for Bailey. Let's go down low. Let's listen to Coach Paul and start utilizing our bigs a lot more. So I just wanted to point that out, in that even when Bailey Flevel was not having her best stuff and was getting frustrated, they just switched gears, went down low, but then you also had, again, Curdy still be able to do her thing as well. But Big showed up and showed out on Saturday.
Yes, they did. And it's crazy. It's like Laura Beeman has been saying the same thing. Maybe just play through our bigs and we're a lot better. And they, in fact, were. 18 points for Imani Perez. That's a season high. 17 points, 12 rebounds for Sanaya Neverson. She was phenomenal. Mm-hmm. That was kind of the player that we were expecting coming on in after she transferred. She just hasn't necessarily gotten as many touches, or at least in a lot of games, she hasn't gotten as many touches as I would like her to get. This one, I'd love to see her getting 10 shots from the field. Honestly, I'd love if that's probably closer to 12. But even so, like, it was good for Imani Perez, where the other night I think she was 0 for 2 against UC San Diego or whatever it was, where she didn't get opportunities. That can't happen, especially for your senior big she's very talented. She has always been very talented. She's not aggressive, though. So you have to make sure that she gets the opportunities. This was a game that she got the opportunities. I thought Ritoria Tamilo was also very, very solid for the Rainbow Wahine in this one. So it's funny, when you use the size advantage that you've got, you can overcome nights like this from Bailey Flevel, who 0 for 9, listen, that happens. Whatever, did 30 minutes. She didn't have a single turnover. That was honestly the other big stat that stuck out to me was, all right, fine, you're not scoring. You're also not hurting your team by giving the ball away. So this team has grown up very quickly. They had to. They're going to have to continue growing up as well over these final 6 games, because they've got an opportunity to move up the standings. They also have an opportunity to still slip out. So it is important that they remain focused.
By the way, Imani Perez probably had the type of game she had because she was kissing the hardwood like majority of the night. She was always on the ground. I'm like, wow. She was probably just getting like ticked off the entire time, and she turned into the animal that she did. I mean, even scoring there, you had all of the bigs, and Imani, Sanaya, and Ritoria having 3 blocks each to their name. And you mentioned Bailey Flevel again. Yes, no turnovers, and also she had a block, so 10 blocks in total for the Rainbow Wahine. And yes, controlling, making sure we don't turn over the basketball too many times. Again, 12 turnovers, but able to capitalize in terms of scoring. But want to let you guys hear from what was said in the post game. So here is Coach Beeman along with Imani Perez and Sanaya Neverson.
When we play through our post players, the game gets pretty easy for us. And I think that these two reflect that greatly. We talked about Mon had got up 2 shots on Thursday night, was 0 for 2. Struggled. We come in here tonight, we get the ball to these guys, and they can do some pretty amazing things. And what I love about these guys more than anything else is they also will pass the ball and move the ball. So, first half our defense was bad. We were a step slow. Don't know why. It wasn't a bad thing. It was just a thing. Came out with some energy in the third quarter, held a really good team to 5 points. I don't think they got off another three in the second half. And then these two really, really came alive. I thought Tori was a really huge presence as well. But just great post play. Kerr Curtis with 18 points first tonight with 10 points and 4 assists. And I think that's pretty impressive for her to really understand the distribution of I can score, but I can also, distribute the ball. Low turnover game for us, which is great. So just kind of putting pieces together, but we have to play through our post players.
Was that the best or most consistently you guys were able to get the ball to your bigs this season?
We've spent a lot of time this week on playing through our post players. And whether it was playing through a trail with the post and it kind of, what's the word I'm looking for, translated into getting the ball to them on the block, the emphasis this week was we are playing through our post players.
For the players, Coach said she wasn't sure what necessarily changed defensively. What did you guys feel changed defensively in that second half?
I think we communicated more. I think at halftime that's kind of what they honed us about, so we came out with better energy and then talked through our screens, and I think that just picked up our energy defensively overall.
There's been a lot of games this year where the guards have done a lot of the scoring load for you guys. How did it feel tonight for the two of you to together have that kind of production?
I liked it. It's nice to have the ball in our hands, and it's even better when we can have the guards and posts together scoring that much. So it's a work in progress.
Coach, do you feel like your depth was a big factor tonight in this game?
At the beginning of the season, that's all we talked about, how deep we were. And then it comes down to when teams start to scout you, where is the skill level to allow you to get on the court and be productive, or not get on the court. Or a game calls for a certain role, and maybe a game calls for less of a role. I thought Rebecca Moore's was great on Thursday night, on the court more for more minutes. Tonight's a little bit more difficult game for her, where she doesn't get on the court. We need depth, we want depth, but we need to make sure that we're setting up these youngsters for success and continuing to put them in a position of confidence. And there are going to be some games that are better for other players, and that's just kind of what we see within this conference.
The stat that stands out the most to me is with that tough defense you're playing everything, you guys only had 8 fouls for the whole game. No player had more than 1. That's incredible.
I think that we're very disciplined. Now, we don't turn teams over a lot, and that's an area that I think we can grow as we start to head towards the tournament. We have very good technique. Coach Flo is incredibly specific on how he teaches one-on-one defense. And that's what makes it so challenging when you play teams that have 2 hands on, or there's a lot more hand-to-hand combat going on. We don't practice that way. So when we see teams that I feel are very close to breaking the rules at which how they're written, it makes it a little bit challenging for us, but we're a very disciplined team and our technique is on point.
And that was UH women's basketball head coach Laura Beeman, along with Sanaya Neverson and Imani Perez following that win over CSUN on Saturday. And yeah, again, they listened to Coach Paul over here, where Coach Paul was yelling at me about going to the bigs in the beginning of the season, but they seem to figure that out.
Anybody who'd listen.
So, we keep saying this, and I apologize if we just sound like a broken record at this point, but it is nice to kind of see the progression and, as you mentioned, Paul, the maturity of this Rainbow Wahine squad. And should everything come together, and it's going to be difficult, I know, and it's not easy to play in, I don't even know what it's called anymore, the forum in Las Vegas. They keep changing the title sponsor name, so I don't know if it's Lee's Family Forum now still. But anyways, where they play the Big West Conference tournament.
I was going to say, I don't know. The place where we hoist the trophy.
Exactly. But like we said, Bailey didn't have her best stuff, but did not hurt the team, as you had mentioned and pointed out, Paul. But imagine if it all comes together in the perfect timing, chef's kiss wise, where you do have the bigs doing their thing, whether it is a block party or going down low, because again, offensively, Victoria Tamilo didn't exactly have the points scored amount that Imani and Sanaya did, but she contributed in the way that she did. But if you have at least 2 out of those 3 bigs that are contributing in points, and then if you have Curdy and Bailey, and then the rest of the cast be able to really peak at that best time in the tournament, woo! Like you said, we could be lifting up the trophy.
Yeah, it's going to be when we lift up the trophy. It'll be a good time. This is a team that is certainly trending towards playing their best basketball in the right portion of the season. Another thing I don't want to go by the wayside is 10 blocks in this game. It's the third time this season that they've had double-digit rejections as a group.
9.
9 from the bigs. Absurdity. Just absurdity. It continues what has been a great defense all year. And to your point, if the offense can find some level of consistency over these next few weeks, this is a scary Rainbow Wahine team. There is a reason they were still selected first in the preseason poll. And, all of the other coaches weren't stupid. They're not looking at them like, they graduated all those players, but we're just going to give them first place for fun. This is still a good Rainbow Wahine team. They just had to figure it out. And to their credit, it seems that is what they have done to this point.
Yep, so coming up this week, Rainbow Wahine back on the road. They will play at Cal Poly on Thursday, which they should take care of business. Cal Poly at the bottom of the conference. I know if we ask Coach Beeman, she will say the coach speak is that their record is not indicative of the team.
I will ask today. We have them right around noon. I will ask the question, and I almost could jump in and give her answer for her. It's one of those.
Which I get it. That's how you got to go. You have to believe.
I'm not
any
putting
given
up
day,
bulletin board material for anybody.
No. So Cal Poly on Thursday, Saturday UC Santa Barbara, the team that's immediately ahead of them in the Big West standing. So should the Rainbow Wahine be able to take care of business, we could flip-flop with UCSB. But then next weekend's homestand is the big one, you guys. So need you out there at the Banco Arena at Stan Sheriff Center. Next week, Thursday, UC Davis. Again, one of the top teams in the Big West Conference. And then Cal State Fullerton, the team that really took it to Hawaii early on and really has proven to be quite the contender in the Big West this year. So next week, put it on your calendars. I know there's a lot of stuff going on. Hope to spend almost every single day next week with you guys because you'll go from women's basketball to men's volleyball. And then I know there's baseball. It's going to be a fun time in Manoa next week. But for the Rainbow Wahine, definitely got to take care of business first this week on the road. And then, of course, the men's basketball team is here at home to play Cal Poly and UC Santa Barbara way past the clock. We'll be right back on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
Back to more Wake Up in the Den with Ku'ule Agbayani on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
Welcome back to all of you, the beautifulest of all the beautiful people. It's Wake Up in the Den, Ku'ulei Agbayani and Paul Brecht on the Hawai'i Sports Radio Network and streaming live on our YouTube channel. This and every single Monday. As we mentioned earlier, we might do a 5-day-a-week thing next week just to party on our final 5 days. Party in the studio here in our second home. Then we'll be in a new home starting in March. So thank you guys for hanging out with us. I know this year has just been really crazy so far. I mean, we did mention early on that there was going to be significant changes. In addition to Paul becoming a dad, I did kind of hint that there would be a bunch of stuff changing here in early 2026. So as we had mentioned, that was the news last week. And yeah, we'll keep reminding you guys that on terrestrial radio, we will not be here anymore beginning in March, but we will still be here with you guys in the digital realm, and we will give you more information once everything kind of gets set up and going. But for all of our terrestrial listeners, it will be the final 2-week aloha to all of you guys, and we will, encourage you to follow us to our digital platforms as well. But yes, we're still HSRN, not going anywhere specifically, just off of terrestrial, and yeah, we're going to be thriving. I'm excited for it.
It's a new era. I'm excited. It'll be a good time. I hope everybody joins us as we go through the bumps, the bruises, the speed bumps that will be the new home, the new look of things. But nonetheless, it'll be a good time. When you're passionate about sports, when you have a great community, when you have a great team, the rest of it kind of figures itself out. And that's what we have here at HSRN, a great team, great community, and pretty big passion for the sports that we cover. So
yeah, and by the way, a big week this week, though. We mentioned next week, but also going on this week is Legends Weekend. Want to make sure we keep reminding you guys about that at the Les Murakami Stadium. It's Les Murakami Hall of Fame night this Friday with the Rainbow Warriors hosting Wichita State. 6:35 p.m. is game time at 6 o'clock p.m., so get there early. They will have the pregame ceremony honoring Les Murakami. They will also be, I saw this, there's some promotional giveaways this weekend. They have these Kelly green hats with orange H's for Hall of Fame night. So the first 600 fans through the door of Les Murakami Stadium on Friday nights will get these special H hats, which will feature the Murakami 11 Hall of Fame on the right side as well. That's really cool, commemorating his induction into the College Baseball Hall of Fame. And then on Saturday, it will be Anthony A.C. Carter night as Hawaii hosts UC Santa Barbara, one of the top teams in conference as well. So
game's going to be insane.
I know. And it is a nationally televised game. It is earlier. Don't forget, 5 o'clock p.m. Be there. My apologies that we didn't tell you guys that the Rainbow Wahine game was earlier, and I didn't know until Saturday.
And up me either.
So
I woke up and I was like, that's fun.
A little earlier. So we're telling you about the men's game on Saturday being earlier, 5 o'clock p.m., nationally televised. And for the fans going to that, let's see, 2,300 white T-shirts bearing Hawaii 23 will be given out in honor of A.C. Carter. And if you don't get one of those shirts, remember, it is a whiteout, so wear your white on Saturday to Bank Arena at Stan Sheriff Center for A.C. Carter night, and just what's going to be a really good basketball game between Hawaii and UCSB. But also, this Thursday is going to be an important game against a Red Hat Cal Poly team. Cal Poly, similar to what we're talking about on the women's side in Cal State Fullerton, that would kind of be the comparison of the type of somewhat surprising season that Cal Poly has had, especially the last couple of games, essentially coming up with upsets. I guess you could consider it upsets.
I think you can call it upsets.
Yeah, on paper, beating Irvine and UC Santa Barbara, that's upsets.
Yeah. I mean, at the very least, they were helpful to the Rainbow Warriors, especially with that loss to CSUN. It was important that those losses were handed both to Irvine and Santa Barbara, because it kind of keeps the fate of the Rainbow Warriors, of just how high they can climb, in their own hands, especially considering tiebreakers, yada, yada, yada. But yeah, not gonna be easy by any stretch of the imagination, especially with Cal Poly fighting for their Big West tournament lives. I'm sure that Irvine, Santa Barbara, Hawaii, honestly, everybody is probably hoping that Hawaii plus a few others are able to keep Cal Poly out of this tournament because they are a scary team very clearly who can, on any given night, take you down.
Yeah, and we're looking back at, again, most recently, so they beat Irvine 79-73, and then they beat UC Santa Barbara 89-79. Going back to when they played Hawai'i, that was a convincing win for the Rainbow Warriors in San Luis Obispo, 86-66. But Cal Poly seems to be turning a corner, and as Paul mentioned, a lot of eyeballs on this Hawaii-Cal Poly game, not just for our own standings, of course, but for other contenders as well. But Cal Poly just on the, 2, 4, 6, 8. Oh, just on the in. But still hoping that they can stay in there at 7 and 8 in Big West Conference
play. That's what I'm saying is they're right there. They're fighting for their lives. And to be fair, they have a little bit of breathing room because Long Beach State has not been very good this year.
Yeah, that's true.
But nonetheless, Cal Poly still can't afford that many more losses at this point. So, anyway.
Also, can our men's basketball team play better on the
road
on
Saturdays, please? Oh, my God. This was brutal.
I don't even,
There's not a lot to really talk about it. The CSUN is a very, CSUN is very, very good team at home. I talked about this before. 12-1 inside the friendly confines of the Matadome. It was ugly. Dre Bullock did not play all that well. I didn't think that, honestly, you got much from your guards in general. Second half, you cut it down pretty well to start. I think it was down close to one possession or something like that.
They got down to definitely single digits, and it looked like, okay, this is going to be a second half for the Rainbow Warriors.
Then all of a sudden the bottom fell out, and I don't want to take away. I thought Ike Finlinson played pretty well in this one. He's continued to take a step ever since Aaron Hunkenclater went down. I thought he's been more aggressive. That's going to be important for Hawaii to continue on, but all around, just a bad performance by Hawaii. You have to flush it and hope that maybe you get a chance to make up for it in the tournament, or maybe you don't like the matchup against CSUN. I mean, Larry Hughes II was awesome, like he just was. Josiah Davis was awesome. Both of them go over 20 points, 22 points in the first half for Larry Hughes. There are reasons that the Rainbow Warriors lost this game. I'm not going to fret too much about it. You can't put too much stock into one loss the same way you can't put too much stock into one win. They have to bounce back this weekend. How's that?
That was great. That was great. I just having flashbacks of watching Saturday's game.
It was
and
terrible.
It's just really, really frustrating. But you have a chance to make sure that you stay at the top of the Big West Conference. Got to come out with a couple of wins here. Defend home court as they've been able to do very, very well this season so far in front of all of you amazing fans. And we hope to see you guys out there again this Thursday and Saturday. Thursday against Cal Poly, Saturday against UC Santa Barbara for AC Carter night. Come for the festivities and wear your white on Saturday. And again, game at 5 o'clock p.m. nationally televised on ESPNU. We'll take a break. We'll be back to wrap it up here on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
Wake Up in the Den with Ku'ulei Agbayani on the Hawai'i Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
Wrapping it up here on the Hawai'i Sports Radio Network, Ku'ulei Agbayani and Paul Brecht, one of his favorite songs here on our playlist. Both of our favorite songs.
I was going to say, it might have worked its way up in terms of our YouTube shows.
Yeah.
It might be my favorite for our YouTube shows.
Nice.
I don't know. Just the vibes are good.
Yeah.
It's good in general. I like music like that, though. I think I have been pretty open about I'm a positive vibes type of music person, and that one, very much so.
Speaking of, I wasn't sure how we're going to close out the show, and this is an interesting article that just got posted by ESPN via Bill Barnwell because...
It's funny, I actually just opened up the same exact one during the break.
I feel like this will be we don't have too much time left, so this might be a conversation that gets continued tomorrow morning, but it's very interesting, and it's, as fate would have it, it's both of our teams that are first on this list in this article. Again, ESPN.com, Bill Barnwell said... kind of did this 2026 NFL offseason trade proposals that fit for both teams. And first up here is right up. The New York Jets get their QB1. So this is all like just him as a journalist seeing what would make sense for certain teams and how the trades would work out. No inclination whatsoever that this is actually happening. But it's just still fun to talk about stuff like this. So the first thing up here is the Jets get quarterback Kyler Murray and a 2026 6th-round pick, and the Cardinals get a 2026 4th-round pick. What say you, Paul, with the Jets in quite the need of a starting quarterback for what feels like the last few years at this point? But I just got to chuckle, and like you said, you opened up the article at the same time, and I'm like, wow, yeah, Paul's team right up here at the top. How are we feeling? I know, again, it's no legs whatsoever in the real world, but fun to talk about nonetheless.
So it's two different things, right? One, this from a Jets standpoint, you can look at it and you think it's probably a pretty good deal. Kyler Murray has had flashes in the league as a pretty good quarterback. He'd obviously be the most talented quarterback for the Jets outside of, the decrepit Aaron Rodgers season that you had since Ryan Fitzpatrick. Maybe before then, probably before then. Chad Pennington, maybe. I don't know. But I sit here and I think about there's this thing called the Jets mope, which is when things start to go wrong, you just see, oh, well, the same old Jets. Here we go. Oh, a bad tip. Must be the end of the game now. Blah, blah. Like, the mope comes. Kyler gives me mope vibes. Kind of where it's like bad things happen. Is he going to be the one to galvanize the team to get around those bad vibes and pull out a victory? I don't really know if he's going to be able to do that. He's kind of been like a hot rod for criticism in Arizona. You're going to be that in Arizona. With love and respect to our friends in Arizona, I'm from New York. The media would eat him alive. The guy he'd be miserable.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really see that type of thing working out. At this price, if you're the Jets, there's no reason not to do it. A 4th-round pick for the chance to potentially have a franchise quarterback. Because Kyler, for all the faults that he has, talented, still young, a little injury-prone, but nonetheless, I mean, beggars can't be choosers. So there's kind of that side of thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And then it's interesting, too, like I mentioned, so Paul's team was first one up on this ESPN.com article. And second here is a trade between the Raiders and the Bears. So the Raiders... I like
this one a lot more.
Now that I see it, I'm like, okay. Raiders would get wide receiver DJ Moore and a 2026 first-round pick. And the Bears would get edge rusher Max Crosby and a 2027 fifth-round pick. I don't know how I feel about the first round pick situation, but having a guaranteed guy with the Max Crosby, and the Bears showed that, yes, DJ Moore had significant moments this past season, but Colston Loveland's coming into his own. When Rome Odunze is healthy, he is the top receiver for Caleb Williams, and I just love Max Crosby, dude. And as we've seen, good teams have good edge rushers. And you can put that pressure, especially against the teams that the Bears have to play in the NFC North. The more I see it, again, anytime I see it, I think it's more of PTSD when I see the Bears needing to give up a first-round pick, because for a long time the Bears didn't have a first-round pick because of trades that were made for beforehand, and part of that Mitch Trubisky trade. But I don't know. The more I look at it, I'm like, I do love Max Crosby.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I look at it. I'm probably doing this if I'm the Bears. I feel pretty good about my offensive weapons. You look at it, and DJ Moore, I don't want to say that he's expendable because he's very, very talented, but at the end of the day, you have the ability to get around it. Max Crosby is top of the league type of defender, and your first-round pick this year is number 25 overall, which is a lot more palatable to give up than other years. So, and you have 3 years of control on Crosby, so I could see it if you're going for a Super Bowl. That's the type of one where you push the chips in.
Yeah. All right. There you go. The irony of pushing the chips in with the trade with Las Vegas. I see what you did there, Paul. There you go. See, we'll get in. There's a bunch of other interesting not potential trades, but as this reporter putting out there, which is fun to talk about. But we're going to have to continue it tomorrow because now we got to go. For Paul Brecht, I'm Ku'ule Agbayani. Mahalo for listening and watching. It's been Wake Up in the Den. Bye.